Hey guys, I got a mouthful of English muffin with a glass full of apple juice here on the rocks. Thank you very much. And I'm here with my surprise guest today, who is a clapping sea lion. Oh my God. This is, by the way, before Jason and Will are on. Welcome to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
Crazy. I can't see surprise guest yet. Maybe their camera's off.
No, you're
Wait,
not supposed
how
to.
does it work?
You're not supposed to. By the way, he won't stop clapping.
Oh, we got a live one?
Yeah.
Live one.
Oh, boy. Might want to just get right to this guest and do our chat afterwards.
Got some folding work going on over here.
We had, by the way, what a wonderful dinner we had last night.
We had a nice dinner, didn't we? The three of us.
was
We really
gorgeous.
did. Listener, the three of us don't really get a chance to have just a three-top,
Not
it's
since
very
the early
rare.
90s. Yeah.
It went really well. Sean generously picked up the bill,
I know.
kind of sneaky-like.
Very
Yeah.
sneaky. I got to be
I
honest.
enjoy doing it.
I know it's nice to do, but consider this sometime. And again, I don't want this to seem like I'm being ungrateful because it was very nice of you. So thank you.
Yeah.
This is all dressed up in a thank you.
Yeah.
But keep in mind,
I got a heart out in 5 minutes.
other people
Yeah.
might want to have the opportunity to do that as well.
I know.
And
Okay.
so you don't want to take away from other people
Will,
the ability. Yeah.
Save it. Will's got about the fucking shortest fucking T-Rex arms you'll ever find
What are you
at a dinner
talking
table.
about?
This fucking guy, you could drop a check on fire in front of him and he wouldn't bat it out. He wouldn't touch it.
That is so
He'd just let
untrue.
it catch his fucking pants on fire before he touched a burning check.
That is so untrue. That is patently untrue.
Prove me
again,
wrong.
Sean,
Prove me
one of
wrong.
the crew members just walked through.
Yeah, a bear just walked through your living room.
A bear crew member.
No,
I'm not-
speaking of
I'm not cheap.
livestock, we ate a lot of cooked cow last night, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning and had to chug Pepto-Bismol because
Your body's
my
not used to it.
stomach is so unused to. It was like a 4-pound steak. I put
Wasn't
on my
that so
face.
good going down, though?
Oh yeah, it was great.
No, I love
It was
that.
so good. Actually, you know what, Sean? After you left us, we went and tried. We were both stuffed. We were as we know. We only went 5
Oh
more
yeah,
blocks
that
after
fucking
you.
steak sandwich.
We go to Bradley's house and he's got his steak. He's opening a
Yeah, steak
sandwich shop in the Lower East Side.
Yeah, so good. By the way,
What's
he
it
made
called?
them for all of us.
Danny and Coops, something like that.
I think that's right. Is it Danny and Coops?
Check it out. I think it's on Avenue A. You said.
Yeah, in the Lower East Side, it makes just
So good.
I think JB, did he say on the menu it's just steak
It's just
sandwiches?
steak sandwiches. Yeah, either with cheese or without. Period.
No, with onions or without.
Oh God.
Right.
It's going to be huge.
So
Yeah,
Sean,
yeah.
So
so
goddamn
after
good.
that menu, after that meal we had last night, Jason and I go over there, and then Bradley's literally cooking these up in his house, and he goes, "Here we go," and he's got his kids there and a bunch of other people, and he's like, "Here you go," and we're like, "No, man, we just had an absolute feast."
Yeah.
And then within 20 minutes, JB gets up.
And has one? Well, no wonder you got up at 2:30 in the morning.
Well, but because he walked me through the whole process of how he got
Yeah.
the recipe from this guy who makes the best steak
Yeah.
sandwiches in Philadelphia, and then Bradley perfected it over like a year because he just loved these sandwiches so much, and he taught himself how to cook them, and then
I
approached
know.
the guy to open up an annex.
It's so good.
basically.
Don't you remember he made them for us like, I don't know,
Yeah.
9 months ago?
But
they were
yeah,
so good.
Yes, I do remember. And anyway, it was really, and I ended up having one too, and they were absolutely delicious. And
But how
then
about
I
this?
walked back because
First of all, I got two things to say about it. So when we got it from number one, when we got it from the table last night at dinner, Jason, you pulled aside and said, I got to run in the bathroom real quick. So me and Will went outside and waited for you.
I should have thrown it all up at that point. I should have just taken it all out of me.
in the bathroom. And then we're standing there, and then you come out, and both Will and I are like, wait a minute, who's this fucking guy coming up talking to us out of the blue? He's like,
well,
it's
you
crazy.
said, and I thought,
and you thought,
where's
I'm like,
JB? I'm thinking,
and he's
You're like, who's this twink? Yeah,
I told
listener.
you,
wish you were a
Well, I don't even know what a twink is. Is that
no,
a good or a
you
bad
got it.
thing?
You're a twink.
So, listener, they're talking about because I've had I've looked like Jesus Christ for the last 9 months, basically.
Yeah.
As I'm playing this guy with long hair and long beard and all that stuff, and I just cut it all off because we came to the end of the thing.
The number of people, and Sean, you're probably the same, who have come up to me as if I'm your wife over the last 6 months, go, hey, or texted me. People have gone so far and go like, hey, what's up with Jason? How come his hair is so long? And I'm like, he's an actor. What do you?
No, but they all assume.
Also,
I love
why
it that nobody is. I love it that nobody assumes that I would be doing it for any sort of acting part. Like
nobody thinks you're in trouble.
Or everybody thinks I'm in trouble. They go there instead of like, well, he's not much of a thespian. He's not going to change his look for a part. He must have just hit fuck it, and we got to send him some money. Yeah.
Why did Marty Bird grow his hair? But anyway,
then you dropped me off, and then we said I went. I'm like, well, where's Uptown? Because I'm so lost downtown. Like, I don't understand. And you go, just go that way. I was walking for like 20 minutes. I'm like,
He was a half a block from 8th Avenue, and he walked all the way into the Hudson River.
That's crazy.
I was no idea where I was. I was scared out of my mind. And then I asked these 4 people, I'm like, do you know where like Uptown, like which direction Uptown is?
Well, first give us your wallet. You got mugged, and then
Exactly.
You ask people which direction Uptown is.
Mm-hmm. And it was a young married couple and then in-laws. And the married couple was like, yeah, you go that way. And then the mom of the in-laws goes, oh my God, Will and Grace. And then the 2 young married couples like, oh my God, SmartLess. And then the dad goes, just to make sure to keep me real, he goes, I don't know who the hell you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I go,
It's the funniest. Isn't that the funniest instinct that people have? I've had people come up and go like, hey, my friends want to pick. I have no idea you. I wouldn't pick you out of a lineup of 1.
You're zero to me.
Yeah, you're zero. That's basically.
But anyway, they want to get a pick. And you're like, okay, well, thanks for telling me, man. I didn't ask.
Right.
Anyway, let's get into our guest. He's been waiting long enough. Like,
honestly, Sean, I feel like, why are you crying? This is
anyway.
We've unearthed. Okay, let's not get into it.
Okay. This guy makes me laugh so hard. I love this guy. We've got a lot in common, both Midwestern boys, large Irish families. Interesting fact, he's been in over 200 commercials. He's performed for the Pope. I think that means stand-up. And how
200
when he was
commercials. That's amazing.
And how when he was 8, he stood in line for 2 hours to meet Jimmy Walker from Good Times just to have him sign Dynamite. Well, today, we get the other explosive Jimmy. Guys, it's the brilliant, the prolific, the funny, the lovable Jim Gaffigan, who we love.
Jim Gaffigan.
Thanks.
Wow.
Wow.
Hello there.
Thanks
I'm a big
so
fan
much.
of yours.
Oh, shucks. Jeez. You
Oh,
know what was so
man.
weird is you guys went to dinner last night, and I don't know why, and I think the listeners should know this, that you made me be the waiter, which I thought was strange.
Well, just as a rehearsal, you know.
Hear us out, Jim. We just figured that we know how real you like to keep it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people should know that Sean Hayes does not tip at
No.
all.
Not
Which
financially.
is weird. I said, is this it? Do you need change? And he said, I need you to change your attitude. And I was like, all right.
Oh,
Now,
my God.
Jim, do you still have that autograph that says Dynamite from Jimmy Walker?
No.
Damn it. I love that.
I only remember that because I saw a photo of it. Because I had a Dynamite hat.
Yeah.
I'm probably older than all you guys. But like,
probably not.
There was a big... I mean, Will looks the oldest, but like the big thing is that...
Wait a second. Do I?
No, I think it's... Will could be like... Well, I think Will would be... there is... a lot of people don't know. He's doing a movie where he's playing Gavin Newsom's dad.
Yeah. This is the Arnett roast. Will, we didn't want to tell you before we got started.
You know, Will, I just do that because I'm scared.
Why?
Frankly, I'm a little scared. I'm intimidated.
Why?
3 buddies. I'm the new kid. I don't know how to fit in.
You're so safe
So I just
here.
realized
You're already fitting in beautifully.
The dirty little secret about this podcast is it really doesn't matter who we have on as a guest because we don't let them talk anyway. We just like to hear ourselves talk. You're on cruise control for the next hour.
Right.
Or 45.
Jim, we don't know each other well, but you came up to very kindly to Canada and did that hospital benefit. You remember that?
Yes,
Is that right?
yes.
Or did you block it out?
No, I remember it. I remember it very clearly.
You were hilarious.
Oh,
You absolutely
thanks.
crushed.
Always is.
And you always crush. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, because you've been
Yeah,
doing
he
it.
never
crush.
pushes. Never pushes.
Just trying to get my dad to like me. And I don't know if it's going to work.
Same.
Is Dad still with us?
No, he's been dead for like 20 years.
Oh, you're waiting for a message?
He's right over here.
He's just off camera.
When you hear
Wake up. I've been every morning I'm like, wake up. He's really tired. He's really tired.
You just put new ice on him every day.
Yeah, he's just
Hey, well, how did you get to be in 200 commercials? I'm actually envious of that.
I was on this show, Silver Spoons.
No.
that was Jason.
No, there was an era in the 90s where they really loved the idea of the dumb white guy in every commercial.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do that.
Sean wasn't available.
I did those too. I did a ton of them.
There's a lot of dumb white guy work. And
I
I loved
immediately
it.
started thinking, oh, wait, this is one of those guys that's got one of those campaigns. It's like, like the Jack in a Box guy.
Or the progressive girl.
Yeah, exactly. It would add up quickly.
Yes, I did Rolling Rock and Saturn, which was a car company. And I did,
This is back in the days when they would pay, right? You get
my
about
gosh.
30 grand.
It was life-changing.
By the time a national commercial's done with its cycle, right? Wasn't it about, you could count on about $30,000?
Absolutely.
How many brands did you sink, do you think?
I would say
Rolling Rock for one, Saturn
I
for two.
definitely said.
Wait, Jimmy, so you were born in Elgin, Illinois. That's so
Is
crazy.
it Jimmy?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
Jim.
it
Sorry,
is.
Jim.
When I was a little kid, I was Jimmy. Now, where are you from, Sean?
Glen Ellen, so it's like 20 minutes from Elgin.
Yeah. Well, we moved pretty quickly to Northwest Indiana. I mean, when
Yeah.
I was 8, I guess.
And you wanted to be a farmer?
I did.
What did you want to farm?
I think corn. It's weird.
Pretty vague dream
Not soybeans.
that you had.
It was
not something sexy like soybeans or rye, but like corn, like a normal plant. No, I did want to be a farmer. And then, but I also wanted to be an actor and a comedian.
I know, like early on, and your dad was the CEO of the Mercantile National Bank of Indiana.
Yes.
Which is so
No
crazy.
way.
And then you wanted to be, and what did he think of you wanting to be an actor?
He thought it was pretty fucking stupid.
Sure.
No, it was, my parents were children of, like their parents went through the Depression. So like the whole objective was to seek security.
Yeah.
And I think my family had been in the country and my father was the first one to go to college. But before that, everyone was coal miners. So it was just like, we finally got to the middle class and you want to become a show person. It was just absurd. It was like, why throw it away?
Yeah, but it's interesting because this happens all the time. We talk about this all the time. You're the youngest of 6. I'm the youngest of 5. And it seems to be like a lot of people we talk to, the youngest in the family always wants to be the actor or the performer or the attention seeker, I guess. Isn't that weird?
Well, the alcoholism was so significant by the time we were teenagers.
Same. Yeah, same. Were you close with your dad?
My dad was this huge influence on me, but it was weird. I think it was mostly trying to make my mom laugh. But, the whole father relationship is so complex. And again, I don't know about with you, there was such a parental fatigue that had hit by the time I was a teenager, where my dad was like, I didn't even sign up for any of this. You know what I mean? And having children myself, I'm kind of like, can they go to boarding school and middle school? Can they do that? It's just, it's exhausting, right?
Yeah.
And
you say you do have children yourself, or you don't?
Yes, I have 5.
Oh my God! Wow.
I know, that's a lot of
So
kids.
jealous.
I'm a very fertile guy.
How old is your youngest, Jim?
He just turned 12.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
And I feel like with every kid, there was a reason for me to like them. You're like, all right, this one likes me so much. I like him.
Right.
And then my youngest one looks like me. And so I'm like, all right, I got a mini me. I gotta be excited about that.
Yeah.
It is amazing, right? Like how you develop these different relationships with the kids based on completely different stuff. I mean, I know you're kind of making a half a joke, but like there is something to be said for like, well, the initial bond started because that little thing that couldn't speak or do anything yet has an attraction to me, and it's almost like a puppy. Like kids are like puppies before they can speak.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
it's like, they jump on my lap all the time, and so, well, I like you too, and now you're my favorite pet.
Yeah, and then your role changes.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm the peacekeeper because daughters and mothers go through some weird crap,
God.
and now I'm kind of Boutros Ghali here, trying to keep some peace.
Cut.
And then there's just different ones where you're like, all right, I'm the evil cop that has to be the disciplinarian.
Yeah, or the one kid's actually less like a puppy and much more like a cat. So they're difficult.
Yeah.
Like they don't give you the time of day. So you end up being very drawn to that one. I got to win that one over, right?
Yeah.
Independence.
I mean, I don't know. You've got almost a half a dozen there. It must be.
Yeah.
My relationship with my kids is so good. I don't have to like worry about roles. We just kind of
Oh
click.
man,
Sorry, I just wanted to say.
just click, click, click.
Hey,
right?
Jim, you don't really think I look older than the other guys, do you?
No.
Let's double back a little bit.
No.
Stuck on that.
Okay.
Now,
thank God.
Jim, where are you? Are you in Los Angeles, New York?
I'm in New York.
Yeah,
I
all
live
right.
in New
Oh,
York.
that's cool.
Have you been in New York a long time?
I've been here for 35 years. I've done some time in, when I was on a show, I would be in LA for 6 months or 6 weeks. I did pilot season.
Oh yeah, every
Yeah.
year. Now, your time in Los Angeles, is this something you kind of, hold your nose and kind of get through it, or do you like it out there?
I don't have anything against Los Angeles. I mean, I'm not a fan of sunlight, but
Yeah.
I'm very much, too much show business is not good for my mental health. Like that's what I like about New York, that like you have friends that are not in the business and you can kind of separate yourself from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we will be right back.
And now back to the show.
Do you ever worry that, like, by having that healthy kind of distance from show business and the pursuit of it and all that stuff, that you run the risk of not going to the places that you want to go career-wise? I ask because these guys always keep me in check and give me proper ridicule about how sort of on keeping my eye on the ball I am about, like, what's happening in the business tree and what should I be doing next and all that stuff. I can't help it, but I envy those that have a healthy distance from
Well, you
it.
also grew up in it, so that's a little different in that way.
Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely. I think my career might be completely different if I lived in LA. I mean, it is 99% of the business,
Right.
but it's also. I don't want to sound like the person, like there's I'm not like Sam Shepard said, I'm on a farm in Virginia.
Right.
And you can fax me only. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I wish I could be that guy. I mean, I definitely care. I'm definitely the guy who's, works really. I'm the guy who does his homework. You know what I mean? I'm not like, I don't even know my agent's name.
No, you've been able to stay so relevant for so long. You've had this really long career, and yet you've been able to, live outside of it to a certain extent. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Good for you.
It's admirable. Jim, how many years? What was your first break, and how many years have you been doing stand-up?
I've been doing it for like 35 years.
And was it always stand-up first, or was it an actor first, and then you wanted it?
It was a little bit of both, but it was. I would say, it was. Stand-up was something I always did, but I always wanted to act, and but there's such fantastic actors in New York. So
but the Jim Gaffigan show was hilarious.
But wait,
Thanks.
I want to get this stand up.
Such a good show.
First of all, how did you? What was the first night? What was the first time you were like in
the
front
first
of the
time
people?
I was so, there's such an audacity necessary to go into this business, right? And also with stand-up to go on stage, that I waited till someone dared me. I had a fear of public speaking, so I took an improv class. This is way before UCB existed. And in the improv class, someone was like, there's a stand-up seminar. This is in 1990, 1991.
Is this New York or Chicago? Or?
New York.
Okay.
And then I did stand-up for the first time, and I fell in love immediately. And then
How about that?
kind of bombed for 6 months. And
Yeah.
Did you write jokes that first time, or did you just kind of wing it? What'd you do?
Oh, yeah. No, I did this. It was kind of like a seminar thing. It was like someone really holding your hand, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like me and my buddies went to a club and I got on stage and it was magic, you know?
Do you still like, what is the oldest joke that you still have in your rotation? Like still one from the early years at all?
I mean, I at this point, I haven't done jokes from back then for at least a decade. And so sometimes I'll write a joke and I'll think, oh, this is great. And then, my wife will be like, that was on like your third special, that joke. I'm like, oh, all right. I don't even remember that I had done a joke. You already complained about your kids that way.
Does she dabble in our industry as well?
Yes, yeah. So she was she did directing, and she also was the showrunner of the Jim Gaffigan show. And we were, initially when it was stand-up, we used to totally. Once we were married, we wrote together, and then with 5 kids, it's you're lucky to have a conversation with your partner.
Wait, so she's showrunner for Jim Gaffigan show. So what, you had an overall with the network or with the studio? And
yeah, that was, before cable completely fell apart, or even though I guess it's coming back, we had a deal at CBS. We did 2 rounds of pilots. They were committed to single camera comedies, and then they weren't.
All right.
And so they released us, and we had an offer from a couple cable things, but like the most attractive offer came from TV Land. TV Land was going to do this massive rebranding thing, and of course we were like, all right, yeah, great. And then we went over there, and then like a month before the show started airing, we're not going to do a massive rebranding.
Shawnee did some TV Land work, yeah?
Yeah, that was we did. We produced
with Betty White.
Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, wait a minute. Were you on? Was Teachers you guys or no? That was Melissa, I think.
Hot in Cleveland with Betty White.
Yeah,
that was the first. I think that was the first show that launched TV.
Yeah,
Land
I think that was the big. Yeah. That was part of the big TV Land relaunch.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Wait, so what network was Jim Gaffigan show on? Then I forget.
It was on TV Land.
Yeah,
it was. It was on TV Land. So you and your wife write the pilot together, or she writes the pilot?
I wrote the pilot with Peter Tolan.
Oh, yeah.
And then really funny, yeah.
The great Peter Tolan.
He was under a Sony deal, and so he couldn't go when we went to TV Land. I mean, sometimes they re-aired every episode on Comedy Central, so that's where people would end up seeing it.
Yes.
So wait, God, so much I want to talk about. Oh, wait, by the way, I heard you love to go to Steakhouse after each stand-up thing.
I love steak, yeah.
We just went to a steakhouse last night.
A great steak last
night. You
night.
ever been to Strip Steakhouse?
Strip?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you guys how often do you guys get together and pretend to like each other?
Yeah, not very.
not that often.
Too hard.
Lot, yeah.
We're not that good at acting.
No, we have dinner when we're on town, like once a week, but it's with everybody and family.
Yeah.
And
just the 3 of us is a rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's also so great about whenever I do podcasts is like it forces you to have these conversations with your friends because things can spin out of control and it's like getting paid to hang around your friends is not bad.
Yeah, that's how this started.
I know you guys donate all your money. A lot of people don't know that.
Yes,
all the money is donated.
Yeah. Wait,
which is amazing.
Are you worried though? Like, I do think about, because I love Steakhouse too, like in LA.
Sean's still on the steak, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
love steak, too.
can't wait to hear what Jim might be worried about in the steakhouse industry. What is it, Sean?
No. I mean, sure, jump in if you want.
Yeah.
But I love.
Please finish this.
I like the simplicity of the menu. There's like 6 things. Because remember Jerry's Deli in Los Angeles? Remember Jerry's Deli?
Yeah.
You sit down.
I bet Cheesecake Factory must really piss you off.
Cheesecake Factory too.
Yeah.
It's a book, and it's like 200, and I almost have to get up because my anxiety. Like, if there's too many choices, I can't do it. But a steakhouse, it's like there's 4 things here, and there's 4 sides. What do you
It's
want?
the sauces that get me pissed off at a steakhouse, though. I never know which way to go.
That's why I always do ketchup. I always do ketchup with my steak.
Fuck.
You are Midwestern.
Yeah,
I like
really
it.
is.
I like it at a steakhouse when they kind of show you the meat, or they show you a potato. We got a potato. We got this lobster flown in from Maine. It's just like
Orange does that.
It's like so dumb guyish. Like, hey, you're a dumb guy. This is a potato. We can cook it for you. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I know I'm jumping all around, but I want to go back to your career.
Yeah.
Jimmy, when you first did Beyond the Pale, that was your first stand-up special, and you had, I don't know how many after. And what blew my mind is how many Grammys you've been nominated for.
Oh,
What?
thanks.
Like, how many times you've been nominated?
I think 7 times. But I'm never gonna win one. But like
But that's
it is
crazy.
Why do you
That's
say that?
amazing.
Well, because some of it is like, I'm just so thrilled that the Grammys even include, stand-up comedy. And in the end, there's always, some very important, newsworthy comedic event that's occurred, whether it be, Chappelle doing anything, or like, one year was Weird Al Yankovic did the first comedy album in 25 years. It's like, obviously he's going to win. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's pretty.
Yeah, you're right. You're never going to win.
Which is the award with the circle that spins around? Is that the Tony, Sean?
Yeah.
Right?
Man.
Does it spin?
It does spin.
It
Yeah.
does. Wait,
does
do you have
spin,
it there, or is it in L.A.?
It's in LA.
All right. The Grammy's the one with the horn. Yep.
By the way, it's so
That's
funny.
the gramophone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's with the horn.
It's fun, isn't
Yeah.
it, Jim? Sometimes just sit back and
Just marvel.
just watch. And you can just point the pointer, and these 2 little kitties, they just go all over the rug. And you just point the pointer and watch them
Do
chase
you
them.
have? Do you
Ball of
have?
yarn.
I usually ask people like if they have any crazy theater stories, but in this case, do you have any crazy like fan stories that you have that like any kind of insane out of all of the out of all the touring you've done for sure, but of the specials or the tour where just somebody insane didn't ever stop?
There's definitely, you guys were talking about, I feel like I'm so goofy looking. So like I'm very recognizable if you know who I am.
You look like John America. That's what you look like.
But like a pale version of it. So it's like I'm either the guy that, shovels your driveway, or I'm Jim Gaffigan, right? So there is, so I could be, and I have horrible vision. So, but because I'm pale and goofy looking, people can see me from far away. They're like, oh, is that Jim Gaffigan? And I can't see who they are because I'm blind. But
you've been loved and on television or some form of media for so long. You must not be able to walk down the street often without getting stopped or going, hey, that's hey. Yeah. Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah, a lot. Like I've provided them a riddle. You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to know you? And you're like,
you catch a lot of people just staring at you from across the room, trying to figure it out.
Especially in strip clubs, they're always like, "Who is that guy?"
Because it's too dark in there.
Because they're like, you got 5 kids. What are you doing here?
And then
Trying to get a 6 kid.
They take their phone out, click. No, but you were maybe going to go down.
Oh
the story
yeah.
of it.
You know what I would say is there is a theater story. I did that championship season on Broadway, and it was the amount of testosterone in the cast was absolutely insane. It was me, Kiefer Sutherland, Brian Cox, Chris Noth, and Jason Patrick, whose dad wrote the play. So it's a great play, and it was, but like when you talk about theater stories, we went. I mean, it's also like this last. I think of like there's this last generation of people that, and there's a segment of this generation that drink like our parents did, and those guys are those guys. And so every night was like the stamina is just bizarre. Like these guys can throw it away and then get up and do a matinee. And I was just like, I can barely walk.
Right.
And
yeah,
But I wonder
know.
how that's. I'd love to check in on those fellas now and see how it's aging. You know, because at some point you do pay the bill.
yeah.
You know, the stamina isn't forever.
Well, I'm sure they're all doing, but like it was so bizarre to go out on stage because I always had this vision of Broadway being, oh my, like people in top hats and stuff like that. And it's like people would walk out and people were like, 24, it's section this, it was just bizarre how it was.
Right.
It was that people were going to so they could see Mr. Big.
Right. But yeah, people really, really like it. But your earlier stand-up stuff, is there when you were first starting, is there?
Oh yeah.
Do you tend to remember the good performances more than the bad ones, or are you like?
I try to block out some really humiliating things, but I did a show on Long Island at Governor's, and Long Island is great, but like parts of Long Island, it can be not necessarily combative, but just kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And I would walk on stage when I started, looking like the farm boy that I wanted to be. And these, like these New Yorkers would be like, look at this guy. You know what I mean? And so like early 90s comedy was very combat driven. Like this guy's just a pussy. You know what I mean? And so I remember I was on stage. It was a late show at Governor's, and I got on stage, and someone in the audience was mooing. They were actually mooing. Moo. And I was like, oh, this is great. Okay. Yeah. So, because I'm from Indiana, they're mooing. And so then I tried to, deal with the heckler. And normally, you have a microphone, you have an advantage, but it didn't really work. And so then eventually there was enough slack on the microphone. Yeah. So I walked into the audience to find out who this mooing person was. And there was somebody severely handicapped lying in a hospital bed who could only articulate.
No, Jim.
Only communicate by going, moo.
No.
So I had spent a good 20 minutes tearing into this severely disabled. Like they had like the keyboard and everything. And I'm just like, but the crowd had known. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to kill myself. And they were very forgiving. And the person, loved the attention. But that was probably one of the more brutal situations.
Well, that's quite a story.
Sean, have you learned your lesson? Never ask that question again.
Like comparisons.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, do you have a clear? I'm sorry if you've answered this question a million times, but do you have a clear preference between stand-up and acting? Because you've done tons of both. One the words come beforehand, the other the words come after.
I love doing both of them because I think that stand-up is such a bizarre existence at night and stuff and it's so solitary and it can, whereas the collaborative thing of acting is so amazing. But I think the process of getting acting jobs is so maddening that I would totally lose my mind if I had to rely just on that emotionally.
Yeah, yes. I mean, some of it's job security to have created an audience.
Yeah, and you can control in one lane of your career. You're fully in control of that.
Yes.
You can sit down and write some great stuff.
You can get the creative fulfillment. Whereas, I've done a lot of dramas, but to this day, I had a meeting 2 days ago, and I've done tons of dramas, and people are always. They all have the idea, what if we put Jim Gaffigan in a drama? And I'm like, all right. I mean, most of them have been indies, but like, I'm like, And you want to be polite and go, yeah, sure, that would be great. Even though, like,
I've done it.
I've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
We'll be right back.
And now back to the show.
Do any of your kids share the business tree passion?
Yeah, I think, I've toured doing stand-up with my 18-year-old son. He's really funny.
Oh, no way. So like he opens for you or closes for you or together?
Yeah, he's done, like...
Oh, really? That's cool.
It's, last couple spring breaks, we've done that. But it's such a
great.
weird business. It's like... And my oldest daughter, who's 20, really loves acting. And I'm like, there's no jobs, right? There's just...
Right.
You want to... And so I'm like, if you want to, you have to create your own job. So I'm like, I'll pay for film school, but like, there's no,
Right. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah,
It is a tough thing because you can't walk around with that diploma and sort of guarantee yourself at least an entry-level position.
No,
like
it's so cruel.
But it's even different from it used to be. Like you talked about pilot season. Like
and commercials. You could have been able to
commercials. You did commercials. Like when I was a young actor, I supported myself doing voiceovers. I did a ton of voiceovers in and around New York. And then every year by about January, for a few years, I would fly out to California. Not every year. Sometimes I would go for like a month, and sometimes, but you'd have pilots auditions, couple a day here in New York, and you do the circuit, right? You go to all the places, and then they'd fly you out, and there was a good chance once you kind of got in the mix, there was a good chance you'd get a job, you'd get a pilot.
And wasn't the Arrested Development year like the last year you were going to do this goddamn pilgrimage out to Los Angeles for pilot season?
No, I did. I got fired the year before, and I wasn't going to do it, and I didn't audition for any pilots.
And Deb Barilski reached out and said, "Oh, come on, Will, please just put yourself on tape or something like that."
I was like, I'm not going to do the TV industry. They're really going to feel the pain of me not being around. Which right?
Wait till I show them.
Right.
I think Arrested Development. I tested for that,
Wait,
maybe not a network test, but a studio test.
what part?
I think the David Cross one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
Oh my
think
God, that would have been great.
No, it's even worse than that. It was because there's also during pilot season, there's like, do you want to commit to this pilot? Or do you want them in first position?
Yes.
And I think I had been offered a pilot to be in first position. And I was like, all right, fine. Let's do that first position. It was garbage, but I'm like, all right, fine. I just want to act.
Yeah.
And then, because I had worked with Mitch Hurwitz the year before on Ellen DeGeneres' sitcom, and he's hey, why don't you come in and audition for this? Because I had been schmoozing him to get a part on it, because obviously he's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And so. And then he was like, yeah, you're in first position, and this is a low budget thing. We can't have anyone in because we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, the premise was like that they were going to do it in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
Remember it was written. Remember he wrote that cover letter on it.
Yeah, it's if you want a dressing room larger than a honey wagon, this job's not for you. Don't even bother auditioning.
Mike Terry, who works on our show, whom you met, he sent me. His wife worked for Deb Barilski, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And he sent me recently the list of people, and my name's on it, of people who were sent, because I eventually put myself on tape here in New York. I was doing a play in New York, and I was so bummed about being fired from this show the year before that I was like, I'm not going to do another. I'm done. Fuck sitcoms. I don't do that. It's beneath me. Yeah. Like I kind of tried to flip it in my mind that I'm above it because I'd been fired. And anyway, so I went and I read for Deb Barilski, but Mike just sent me, I've got it in my office at home.
Wow.
Of the sign-in sheet or whatever.
That's really cool.
Mitch sent me the videotape of my actual audition for Michael Bluth. I've got it on my computer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was the last day you ate, right? Like that's why you started eating.
I've been swimming ever since. I just look too puffy.
Jim, I forgot that you were on that Ellen show with Mitch that year before. I remember that. Yeah.
Martin Mull was on that show. That was so...
We loved Martin Mull.
It was so... I mean, he was such a sweet guy. And he was...
Such a sweet guy.
And it was so bizarre to see this guy that I had watched on Fernwood Tonight.
Yeah,
And
Fernwood
he's-
tonight was great.
I mean, it was just, and as this, I mean, I know I'm older than you guys, but like you have to understand that was the bizarre, him and Fred Willard. That was like my first exposure to like bizarre comedy.
And they did like cutting edge, super racy.
Yeah.
It was so clever because it was. I love that show.
Well,
So
also,
fun.
I had no idea that Martin Mull was this brilliant painter. Like he went to art school to be a painter. And then he would just tell stories about Steve Martin, which was amazing because, you know.
Jason, is that a Mull behind you?
Yeah.
That's a Mull right there.
A Mull.
I got this one cheap.
Jim, tell me about like unusual jobs before you got all this work when you were starting.
I started off, I studied finance, but then
That's wild. You went to school for finance.
I was a copywriter in an advertising agency. And
Really?
I think it was really helpful in learning some word economy and efficiency of writing. But I was the weird guy in the corporate setting, like Jim's crazy, like he's napping in his room. Meanwhile, I got like 3 hours of sleep the night before. But yeah, there was, I was the last of my friends to have a day job because I think the remnants of that retaining security had really stayed with me. And I also knew that I didn't want to just do some horrible bar gigs. And, I tried to limit some of the humiliation.
For sure.
Do you keep up with financing? Like, is that still like kind of like a hobby of yours? Or
I didn't really, I don't know anything about finance. And it's like I went to college and I even joke around about that in my new special. It's like, it's really sad. I mean, I have middle schoolers and I look at their math and I'm like, did they introduce new numbers? Because I don't know what's going on. And also, like, if I looked at the Wall Street Journal financial section, I wouldn't know. And I probably, passed a class in it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Got it.
Right.
But speaking of your special, it's called The Skinny. It's on Hulu right now.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Oh, boy.
so this is number 11. This is the 11th special.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's crazy. And I'm only 22.
Jim.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, thanks.
And
What did you say? It's
what
the
do you-
11th of 22? You've decided
And
you're
I'm
going to
only 22 years
No,
old.
he's only 22 years old.
Yeah.
Where do you see? I mean, what do you as a performer? Do you see yourself as you sort of get older that you want to keep making specials? Do you like the process of making specials, or do you get a thing you're like, I just want to act more because the specials I've done 11 of them and I don't, or does it? Where does the fire live?
It's all self-assignment, right? Like every aspect of this business, right?
Yeah.
There's, like, we have this notion that someone's sitting at a counter at a soda shop and someone comes up. It's like you have to like steer it. You have to sit there and go, I want to do this. But what I love about writing stand-up is that it's something I have control over. So it's like, look, I would love it if I didn't have time to do it as much as I do. But, and I have turned down a fair amount of, I mean, I love just complex characters and, so if it's a good acting role, I'd love to do it. But like if it's, some kind of silly comedy where I would have fun doing it, but it wouldn't be something great. I try not to, and also I have kids, so I have to be very selective on why I'm going out of town. Meaning I got to make money, But I do a lot of indies where I make nothing.
Do you still go and like jump on stage at the Comedy Cellar and places like that?
Absolutely. I tried. That's why we're still in New York City. I mean, I wanted my kids to be New Yorkers, but also, it's so great. I can just go and do a show at, Gotham or, the New York Comedy Club, and then I can be home and, try and tear the screens away from the kids,
Yeah.
Your life sounds freaking perfect. I want to come back as Jim Gaffigan. I really do.
It's
Totally.
far from it, but thank you.
What's your favorite non-comedy or non-businessy thing? I know you love gardening.
Yes, I do love gardening.
Now, where do you get a chance to do that downtown?
During the pandemic, we got a place in Westchester.
Oh, okay.
And so, and they had some raised beds there, and I love that. But I love gardening, and during the pandemic, I got into bourbon. If I'm talking to like 3 people in the entertainment industry, I assume 2 of you don't drink any longer,
Right.
but like, so it's like, but like, so I was like a beer guy. And then during the pandemic, I kind of got into bourbon. And then, I mean, we've all probably been approached. Maybe you guys have a celebrity spirit, but I didn't want to do that. But I have a buddy from Louisville, and I was like, because some of them are just so bad. So I was like, can't we just pick our own and do this? And he's like, you might just end up with a bunch of bottles of bourbon. I'm like, that's fine. So I'm doing that until I eventually join AA, I guess in 3 years. I don't know.
Turn a profit first. Yeah. That's great.
Like saying I went from beer and then I got into bourbon. It's like saying like I used to do coke and then I got into crack because I was like,
it's just
fuck it.
ketamine is great. It's just a starting point.
Well, they always say I'm drinking bourbon in the morning, but it's actual apple juice on the rocks.
Oh, there you go.
Of course it is.
By the way, every step of the way, Jim, Sean will out Midwest you in every respect. You can't
Apple
believe
juice,
how from
ketchup.
the fucking.
Yeah.
Do you see how excited he was when he was like, "And you're from Oakmont, right? Or wherever."
Elgin.
And I'm from 20 minutes away from there. And we're always like, "Isn't
I
that
know.
fucking crazy?" People are from places.
I'm always fascinated that people get out of the place they live to pursue their dreams in other places.
Sean,
I love
really
those
quick
stories.
lunch today, Sean. Really quick, what's on the menu? Quickly.
Scotty, what's for lunch? Mac and cheese?
He's chopping celery for the egg salad right now.
Yeah, I think
What
it's
is it?
gonna be. I think it's gonna be Kraft mac and cheese.
So you can still eat like you're in 3rd grade and you
little
look
bit.
great.
A little
Wow.
bit, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
well, he's got a
impressed.
cookie pouch. Show him the cookie pouch.
I got a cookie pouch.
There it is. Here it comes. There
Oh,
it
there you
is.
go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's my cookie pouch.
No, I thought it was growing up in the Midwest. I used to look around and be like, I mean, I know I wanted to be a farmer and everything, but like,
Sure.
I was like, I think there's been a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in New York. And
Right.
And then I got to New York and I was like, oh, well, I'm finally home. And they're like, you're the most Midwestern looking guy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So I realized how Midwestern I was when I
Because
left
we
the
look
Midwest.
plain. We look plain. We look plain.
Yeah.
We blend in.
And it's a
like-
sexiness,
That's
right? Like
what's
when
beautiful.
people think Midwestern, they think
That's
sexy,
what it is.
you
guys
know,
are plain.
Tim Wall's sexy, stuff
Unsnap
like
the
that.
overalls and let's get after it.
Yeah.
Sean, be honest. How long between now and when have you started looking at Rascals online? Are you like, what speed am I going to get?
Yeah. I'm looking
Are
at
you
it
just
right now.
eating your way into a Rascal right now? Is that the end goal?
You put
Yeah.
special tires on that, mags
yeah.
or anything, spinners.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Jim, you're the greatest.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks
Chicago.
for being here
You are.
today.
You're such a funny dude.
Yeah,
fun.
very
Thanks for
nice of
having
you
me.
to spend some time
I
with us.
appreciate it.
We're all big fans of yours.
Yeah, you're such
Yeah.
a consistently.
Next steak dinner, when I wait, your table, please tip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of it's for the bus boys.
And we'll
You know what
act
I
like
mean?
we
Will's
know
going to pick it up next time.
Next, I'm gonna pick it up all the time.
Yeah.
Would you, if we're ever here in New York again, and we say, "Hey, we're gonna go to Strip House," would you join us?
I would totally do that.
Okay.
I
Oh
would
my
I'd
God,
love to
that
see a
would be
set
fine.
at Gotham first. That
No,
would
I
be
love it
nice.
because there's certain excuses. Like when I go out with Seinfeld, I'm like, it's like Jerry wants me to have pizza, and my wife's like, I understand, but if I'm just, hanging out, there has to be a reason behind
Yeah.
it. And you
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
are, very high status.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah, we're worth the cholesterol. I love it.
Wow.
Jimmy, The Skinny.
The skinny.
The
Yeah.
Skinny on Hulu. Thanks for being here, pal. We love you. And thanks for making us laugh for 75 years.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
See you, bud. Will, I think you look 12. Okay?
Thank you.
That's my opinion.
I can't believe he said that. I really found it very hurtful. And you know what?
And he started,
all-
he came kicked the door down with it, didn't he? Started
Yeah.
right out with it.
You know why? I think he's got a crush on me.
Yeah. You are a little
That's the
intimidated,
way. That's the way I gotta frame it.
I'm proud of you for working right through that. That could have wrecked the whole interview, but no, you didn't let it happen.
I love that he doubled down on it.
Over and
With the
over.
Gavin Newsom.
It's my kind of joke. It's my kind. I love
Gavin
it so
Newsom's-
much.
Gavin Newsom's dad.
Dad.
Mr. Newsom.
So
Mr. Newsom.
good. Oh, he's doing a new sitcom called Mr. Newsom.
Yeah, you should send your headshot to Lorne Michaels if Newsom makes a run at it on the next election cycle.
Isn't he? He's one of those guys who, when you watch him doing a special, like you said, Jason, he's so calm.
Yeah,
like he's not like a loud in your face kind of, right?
Yeah, you see him. You just kind of start with a grin. He doesn't even need to. He doesn't need to be talking yet. You know?
He's authentic and he's such a nice guy too.
My God, I love him.
He's so nice.
Yeah, I love him. Huge fan. I'm glad we had him. I'm trying to think of a buy.
Okay.
And I looked up synonyms.
Seeing your honesty. Finally, by the way, look at this photo that just got sent.
Oh my God.
Is that Ricky?
Wait, so you looked up synonyms or cinnamon treats? I cut you off.
Well, what happened?
I have two tabs open.
Okay.
Cinnabons near me.
By the way, that sounds so good.
Right?
Yeah, I love that.
Well, just after your mac and cheese, you guys can jump in a cab.
Yeah, I love mac and cheese. So there's via, there's through, there's across, there's along, there's near, there's a beyond, there's also a by.
Synonyms to buy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But what you did is you spelt it wrong.
Oh, I did spell it wrong.
The prompt needs to be
right.
BYE.
I did spell it wrong. Oh my God. Okay. Ready? So there's adieu. Adios,
take your time, Sean.
Arrivederci, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. There's cheerio.
No, but we need, sorry, you're not understanding the concept.
Yeah.
You need to put the word buy into the buy. We don't need a synonym. Arrivederci is not going to help you get to a buy.
We've been doing it so long.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to blow my brains out.
Yeah, you want to blow your brain. So whatever we come up with, fine. But for our audience, we just got to make sure that they buy it.
Oh, man, that snuck up on me.
That was good. That was really good.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Michael Grant Terry, Rob Armjarv, and Bennett Barbaco.
SmartLess.